All right, so today we're doing a deep dive into something businesses are using more and more these days.
AI. Yeah, it seems like it's everywhere, right?
Seriously. And I know what you're thinking, not another AI conversation, but trust me on this one, we're going way beyond just scratching the surface. We're talking about the nitty-gritty of how it's changing the game for businesses.
It's not just hype anymore. AI is solving real problems, often before we even know they exist.
Okay, that's a little scary, but kind of cool, right?
Total.
So we're going to break down three major players: machine learning, natural language processing, and computer vision.
And we're ditching the technical jargon.
Oh, thank goodness. We're getting straight to the point with real-world examples.
Because at the end of the day, it's about how AI is actually being used.
Exactly. Let's start with the master of data machine learning, or as the cool kids call it, ML. You know how some companies seem to just know what you want before you even do?
Yeah, it's a little spooky sometimes.
Right. Like, how do they know I needed that specific gadget? Well, a lot of times that's ML-powered prediction in action. One study even showed that personalized product recommendations driven by ML can increase sales by up to 20%.
That's huge.
Yeah.
The secret sauce is its ability to analyze massive amounts of data,
Yeah.
the kind that would make a human brain fry.
Yeah, no kidding.
But ML can not only handle it, it actually thrives on it. It spots those hidden trends and patterns that we humans just wouldn't catch.
So it's like having a superpowered detective on the case.
Exactly. And then it takes those insights and makes predictions with crazy accuracy.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. But how does this magic actually happen? There are different types of ML, right?
Absolutely. Think of it like this. There's supervised learning, where we're basically spoon-feeding the algorithm labeled data. It's like teaching with flashcards. This is a cat, this is a dog.
So it's learning by example.
Exactly. Then there's unsupervised learning, where things get really interesting. We're not giving it the answers here. We just let the algorithm loose on the data to find its own patterns.
It's like saying, go figure it out. And it actually does.
Right. And sometimes it uncovers connections and insights that we never even considered.
That's incredible. So unsupervised learning is like the independent innovator of the ML world.
I like that. And then we have reinforcement learning, the trial and error approach.
Ah, yes, the learn by doing method.
Precisely. Think of it like training a puppy. The algorithm tries different things, gets rewards for the good, and penalties for the not so good.
So it's like AI is learning, just like we do, just a whole lot faster. But let's get down to business. How are businesses actually putting all this ML magic to work?
One word: predictions. Imagine knowing which products will be best sellers before they even hit the shelves.
That's every retailer's dream, right?
Exactly. ML-powered forecasting is becoming a game changer in the retail world.
So they're basically seeing into the future of shopping. That's wild. But it's not just about retail, is it?
Not even close. Picture this. A bank using ML to spot potentially fraudulent transactions before they happen, or healthcare providers predicting which patients might need extra care after they leave the hospital.
We're talking about preventing problems before they even start.
Exactly. ML is like a sixth sense for risk.
Speaking of risk, let's talk about fraud detection. It seems like every day we hear about some new data breach. It's terrifying.
Absolutely. And that's where ML steps in to save the day. It analyzes transactions in real time, like right as they're happening, and flags anything fishy.
So like when my credit card gets declined for a $5 coffee because the purchase seemed a little off, that's ML looking out for me.
Yep. It might seem like an overreaction for a small purchase, but it's preventing bigger problems down the road.
Okay, I can get behind that. A little inconvenience is worth it for peace of mind. But speaking of ML, I gotta be honest, those personalized recommendations online can be a little creepy sometimes.
I know what you mean. It's like, how did they know I was just looking at those shoes?
Right, it's like they're reading my mind.
Well, in a way, they kind of are. ML picks up on your unique preferences, but it's not just about pushing products. Think about a music streaming service, suggesting new artists you wouldn't have found on your own, or even a dating app playing matchmaker based on your compatibility score.
Okay, I'll admit, that's kind of cool. So it's not just about targeted ads, it's about connecting with things and maybe even people we might actually enjoy.
Exactly. ML is using data to make our lives easier, more efficient, and, dare I say, maybe even a little more fun.
All right, ML, you've won me over. But I'm still a little wary of those algorithms. Okay, so we talked about machine learning, but what about language?
Because data is only useful if we can actually understand it, right?
Exactly. And that's where natural language processing comes in, NLP for short.
Way shorter than saying natural language processing every time.
Right. And just so we're clear, we're not talking about those iffy translation apps here. This is about computers actually understanding human language. Like the real deal.
All the little things we take for granted, sarcasm, double meanings, even just cultural context, NLP is about teaching computers to pick up on that stuff too.
So, like, giving computers a crash course in how to hold a conversation like a real person. What could go wrong, right?
Well, there's definitely been some interesting attempts.
I bet. But where is NLP actually making a difference these days? Where can we see it in action?
Think about your inbox for a second. Spam filters, powered by NLP.
Oh, wow. I never thought of that.
They're learning all the time, figuring out which emails are legit and which ones are just trying to sell you something you don't need.
That's actually really impressive. Though I'll admit, sometimes those filters can be a little too aggressive. Like, I've totally missed important emails because they ended up in the spam folder.
Yeah, it's all about finding that balance,
Yeah.
but it's getting better all the time.
Yeah?
And it goes beyond just blocking spam. Think about this.
Yeah.
Say you're a company and you just launched a new product.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want to know, like, instantly what people are saying about it online?
Oh, absolutely. That would be amazing. But how's that even possible? Are you saying someone's out there reading through millions of tweets and reviews?
Nope. That's where NLP comes in. Sentiment analysis.
Sentiment analysis. Catchy.
Right. It can analyze tons of text data, whether it's social media, online reviews, whatever, and it'll tell you exactly how people feel about, well, anything really.
So a company could know if their new product is a hit or a miss before it even hits the shelves. That's kind of powerful.
You're a little scary too, right?
Yeah, a little bit of both. But speaking of information overload, let's say you're a busy executive and you've got a stack of reports to get through, like a mountain of paper.
You're there.
Who has time to read all that?
Nobody.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of text summarization, another NLP superpower. It can take all those pages and pages of text and condense them into short, sweet summaries. Just the main points. Saves a ton of time.
Now that's what I call a productivity hack.
Right. It's like having an assistant who can read 10 times faster than a human.
Sign me up. But okay, we got to talk about chatbots. We all have a love-hate relationship with them. Some are just awful, but others are shockingly good. What's the deal with that?
Well, the good ones. That's NLP working its magic. The more advanced the NLP, the smoother the conversation.
So it's not just about understanding individual words, it's about the whole conversation.
Exactly. Picking up on those subtle cues, the context, all that good stuff. That's what makes a chatbot truly helpful, not just frustrating. It's tricky stuff, though.
All right, so we've talked about data with machine learning, we've talked about language with NLP, but now it's time to get visual.
You mean computer vision. This is where things get really, really interesting. We're basically teaching computers to see the world.
Like actually see. That's wild.
It is, but instead of eyeballs, they're using cameras. And instead of brains, well, they're using algorithms.
So it's not just about recognizing a face in a photo, right? We're talking about like actually understanding what's going on in an image, the whole picture.
Exactly. Recognizing objects, spotting patterns, even understanding the context of an entire scene. That's the crazy potential of computer vision.
It's like giving computers a whole new sense. The possibilities are kind of endless.
They really are. And it's already happening. Where do you think we should start?
Well, I know self-driving cars rely on computer vision, right?
Absolutely. That's a big one. Autonomous vehicles are using computer vision to navigate, to avoid obstacles, to basically make sure they don't crash.
It's like having a second pair of eyes on the road, always looking out for danger.
Exactly. But it's not just about keeping us safe behind the wheel. Imagine drones with computer vision inspecting bridges for damage, or keeping an eye on crops to see if they're healthy.
So we're talking about increased safety, efficiency, all that good stuff.
Exactly. And potentially even saving lives.
That's amazing. But okay, I have to ask. I've heard some things about computer vision being used in advertising, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a little unnerving. Like, are we gonna walk into a store and have ads tailored to our every move?
Well, it's not quite there yet, but it's definitely being explored. Think about digital displays that change based on who's walking by.
So like targeted advertising, but in person.
It's using data to personalize the shopping experience.
I don't know how I feel about that. On the one hand, it's kind of cool, but on the other hand, it's a little Big Brother-ish.
It's a fine line for sure. And that brings up a really important point. With all this amazing technology comes responsibility. We need to make sure that computer vision is used ethically.
I'm glad you said that. Because
Right.
it's easy to get caught up in all the cool things AI can do and forget that there are real ethical implications to consider.
Absolutely. It's a conversation that we need to keep having.
Okay, so as we wrap up our AI deep dive, what's the key takeaway for our listeners? What do we want them to walk away with?
I think the biggest thing is this. AI isn't some far-off, futuristic fantasy. It's here, it's now, and it's already changing how we live, work, and interact with the world around us.
It's kind of like AI is the new normal.
Exactly. And it's only to get more integrated into our lives from here.
So what's your advice? Embrace the robots.
How about embrace the possibilities? AI has the potential to do some incredible things to solve some of the world's biggest problems. It's up to us to make sure it's used for good.
I love that. Embrace the possibilities. This has been an amazing conversation, truly mind-blowing. Thank you so much for joining me on this AI deep dive. And everyone listening, stay curious out there.